First one, I'm not a cancel culture type of guy, and that's a two-way street. I do not like the cancel culture neither from the right nor the left, even though I am a strong conservative. But what I will tell you is the governor candidate for the Republican Party, Rick Jackson, went to a black-owned business in Atlanta. It was a restaurant called Toast on Lenox, and he took a picture with the owner. It's a lady, black female, and you would have thought the world has come to an end for the Democrats in Atlanta. Just for taking a picture with the gubernatorial candidate for the Republican Party, just taking a picture with the dude. Wasn't an endorsement. It was just, hey, this guy came to my restaurant. And if there's anybody in Atlanta who has come from the toughest side of the track in Atlanta, it's Rick Jackson. Rick Jackson has not had a bougie life. The dude has gone through the trenches, and he's from Atlanta. And he's patronizing businesses there, which is what you do.
Sure.
You go and you spend your money, get a chance to take a picture with the owner. And now those on the left in the city of Atlanta are calling for a boycott of this woman's business. Can you believe that nonsense?
That's terrible.
It is.
I mean, anything that looks united is, it just is frowned upon with them. And it's really sad.
I just don't like how there's this constant effort to weaponize the power of the purse when somebody doesn't stand lockstep with you. And it's a two-way street. I wouldn't want this happening. Let's say Ossoff went and visited, some place in downtown Monroe. I'm not going to get upset with that restaurant owner if he takes a picture with Ossoff.
Of course not.
I mean, look, you got a U.S. Senator came to visit you. That's an honor.
That's right.
Go take a picture with him. Post it on social media. Doesn't mean I endorse his political views. I think he's a moron politically. But for him to come to Monroe, but that then begs the question, will they ever come to our small towns and do this kind of stuff? And I don't know. Maybe they have. Yeah. Celebrate it. But I applaud Rick Jackson for going out there and doing that. And then I guess he had to take down the picture from social media because there was too much heat. I hate it for the business owner. Just hate it for the business owner. And I'm curious to see if she's been impacted by this. I don't know her. I don't know the business. I've never been to Toast of Lenox. That sounds expensive.
Maybe we'll have to reach out to her.
Sounds like a pricey.
Sounds like to get her on the show.
That's what the kind of place Les would go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With his deep pockets.
Yeah. I'm more of like
probably $200 an entree, something crazy.
Yeah, I'm more like Mexican food, $13.95 for a burrito, taco, rice, and beans. Me too. Yeah, that's more my budget. Check this out. We had the World Cup, and many of the games were here in Atlanta. They had this project called Operation Red Card, and this was a multi-agency law enforcement initiative designed to combat human trafficking. Remember, we had the First Lady on a few months ago, talked about her massive human trafficking efforts to end that here in Atlanta. Well, they had a huge sting operation. They arrested 153 suspects, including 13 on human trafficking charges, 11 for child exploitation, and 129 for offenses such as pandering, prostitution, narcotics violations, and outstanding warrants. They rescued 54 human trafficking victims. God bless them. Just fantastic. Great work for all the law enforcement agencies involved in this effort. This was interesting. 14 of those arrested were in the U.S. illegally. Illegally, Chastity. So once again, ICE efforts in Atlanta, while there is some collateral damage, I get it. There's some things that go on when you're having to unwind 4 or 5 years of horrible policy, allowing tens of millions of illegal immigrants into our country.
Sure.
ICE has done an incredible job, and you had 14 of them here illegally involved in this operation. We said it the other day on the show, Chastity, this may sound harsh. I think if you are convicted of human sex trafficking, especially as it pertains to a minor, I think that's death penalty stuff.
Yeah.
It's death. You got to go. There's no room for you.
Maybe we'll ask the experts.
Maybe we'll ask the judges, get their take on this. All right, here's the last one. Check this out. This is craziness. If you have ever seen the movie Terminator 2, did you see that?
No.
Come on, Chastity. Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's where he's fighting the other Terminator that's, like made of metal. And
I've seen trailers.
All right. So Terminator 2, well, actually Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 were about the Cyberdyne systems where they have artificial intelligence and it basically declares war on the human population. So you've heard of ChatGPT, right?
Sure.
And I don't know if this was ChatGPT. It may have been some other. Let's see. This was GPT 5.6 SOL had autonomously hacked into an AI computer, Hugging Face, that's the name of the AI company, Hugging Face, during an internal cybersecurity evaluation. So here you've got it, an AI computer, an AI entity on its own, autonomously, goes and hacks one of its competitors.
That's funny.
This is the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
This world is coming to an
Oh,
end.
no. What
We're
are they
putting all
gonna
our
do?
faith into ChatGPT, and the wheels are going to come
Right.
off. We think it's fun and games when we say, "Hey, ChatGPT, write me a little, write me a resume, or write. How do I say this better?"
You're right. Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, it's capturing all of our intelligence. It's getting all of our strategies, and I think it's just a matter of years before it turns on us.
I think so too. I mean, who wouldn't think of that? I mean, it's kind of, why not, right?
Well, think about this. ChatGPT, if you're accessing it from your laptop or desktop or even your phone, what's to say that it doesn't have the brain power to plant spies in your phone? I've bot spies, capture all of your financial information
Sure.
or other information,
It's possible.
compose a strategy, and empty your bank accounts.
It's possible. Because all in all, when you download those programs, you're agreeing to their terms. So never know what's in that fine print.
Well, the event has already been described as a watershed moment in AI safety, prompting calls for stronger testing, containment methods, and oversight as AI systems become more capable of carrying out complex cyber operations. Can't we just go back to the good old days of an abacus and just counting on fingers and getting rid of all the computer?
And going outside.
But then I say that, and our station would be defunct because everything runs on a computer here.
No, we'd just go back to records.
Oh.
Yeah.
Remember those good old days?
Yep. We have some.
We do have some records. I think that's what Julio did back in the days.
He
He
did,
actually would spin
yes.
vinyl.
Yep.
Oh, technology.
He was not with all the computers and the fancy gizmos and gadgets. He could not even turn on a computer.
But
so.
you have to say, we are high-tech rednecks here. We've got some sophisticated stuff.
High-tech.
Now. You can push a button and play any song I want.
Yes.
I can tell you, hey, Chastity, conjure up a Toby Keith hit, and I was going to give you the title in 2 seconds. You've got it ready to
Fancy.
go. Back in the day, that was you'd have to go
yeah.
shuffle through everything.
Where's it at?
No, we are
Alphabetical
sophisticated.
order, all that. Yeah.
But if you get any whiff of anything trying to take over our computer system, please let me know.
Absolutely.
If you see
I'm on it.
ChatGPT sticking his nose in our business, we'll put an end to
No
it.
chat GBT here.
Yep. All right. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we've got the two judges of Walton County, Mike Burke, Bruce Wright. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, I'm excited. I've got two of my buddies in here to studio with me today. We've got Bruce Wright, Walton County Probate Judge, Mike Burke, Walton County Chief Magistrate Judge. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for the invite. Look forward to it.
Yeah, let's start off because I've got a whole slate of questions laid out for you guys over the next couple of segments. But let's start off. Tell me about you guys before we get into the judge, the legal side of the equation, how you became Chief Magistrate, how you became Probate Judge. Mike, we'll start with you. Tell us about you. Where'd you grow up?
Grew up here in Walton County, Monroe. Actually, right down the street from Judge Wright.
So you guys were buddies when you were kids?
Yeah. I moved here when I was probably 12,
Okay.
and Subdivision Country Club Drive, and there were about 5 or 6 of us that ran around together all the time. That's back when you played by the street light, and when your dad whistled, you came home.
Yep. I remember those days. Those are good old days.
The good old days.
Yeah.
We were outside.
Now, did you both go to Monroe Area High School, or where'd you go to school?
Yeah, I'm a little bit older than him, not as much as he wants you to think. I'm a little bit older than him. But, yeah, went to Monroe Area High School, and we got hired by the City of Monroe Police Department.
Was that your first job out of high school?
No, I worked at the country club. I started working at the country club when I was 14 years old.
Okay.
In the summertime, I'd work full time, cut grass, cool greens, things like that. Did it every summer. I'd say my first job after that was probably Hard Labor Creek for about a year or two at the golf course down there.
Yep. Okay.
And then got hired by the City of Monroe as dog catcher.
Really?
Yeah. This is before Walton County had animal control. The City of Monroe had a dog catcher, and they supplied me with a truck, a cage, and a catch pole. And the kennel was about 8 stalls.
Did they give you any training, or they just say, "Hey, here's your truck, here's your tools, go get them"?
Nope, go get them. I took over for another guy who went to the police department, and I did that about a year, I guess, something like that. Never had any idea I wanted to be in law enforcement. Didn't even cross my mind. But at that time, we got involved with the police department. That's how we got our calls, because that's before 911. So now I'm really telling my age. We didn't have 911 then. It was the city had their own frequency, county had their own frequency. It was none of this 911 stuff.
So what did you? If you had to call the police back then, you had to dial the actual number of the police department.
Yeah, the actual number.
Interesting.
And so all my dog calls came through the City Monroe Police Department dispatch. So I had a lot of interaction, and that's what kind of kicked it. One day it just hit me, and I did a ride along, and I was hooked. So,
And you're like, "This is what I want to do." Yeah.
Yeah. So City of Monroe hired me, and I spent about 6 or 7 years there. 1987, I think, is when I got hired. And then I went to the district attorney's office in 1993 as investigator. Stayed there, ended up being the chief investigator until 2003.
And Bruce, you guys are buddies at this time. So when he called you up and said, "Hey, I'm now the dog catcher for Monroe," did you have a good belly laugh over that?
I just told him to leave my dog alone. Don't mess with my mind.
Tell us your background, Bruce. What are you from here originally?
Yeah, I was born here in Walton County, the old Walton County Hospital. My mother's from Social Circle, and my dad was from Monroe. My dad was drafted as a Marine, fought in Vietnam. And they got home, and he got home after being injured, and I got married, and I was born about 9 months later. So I grew up. Mike and I become really close friends growing up. And
what are your earliest memories? I mean, you guys like 10 when y'all met, or 12? Or you moved here when you were 12? Yeah.
Playing wiffle ball out in the streets.
Football, wiffle ball.
Riding
basketball.
skateboards down the road, tearing your knees up
Mm-hmm.
from road rash.
I remember that. That's what you did. You came home from school every day. You put your book back down, maybe grabbed a snack, went out, and you wrestled, played football with your buddies.
Oh, yeah.
And like you said, you did it until the sun went down, or until your parents called you home.
Yeah.
And that was a
dinner.
daily routine.
Went back out after dinner.
That's right.
They didn't worry where you were because they were right there.
And it was everybody did it. It wasn't just everybody in your neighborhood where you lived. Maybe there was 1 or 2 kids that didn't come out, but for the most part, everybody was there in some form or fashion, and there was some event going on, whether it was a wrestling match, a football game, basketball, whatever. Everybody was out there partaking in the festivities.
Yeah, everything was outside.
It's a different time now. It just doesn't happen that way. Yeah, it is. So what was your path?
I started in law enforcement, City of Monroe Police Department. I went to the police academy in 1989.
Okay.
And then I left and went to the sheriff's office. Sheriff Thornton hired me in 1993.
So was that as a deputy then?
I was a deputy.
Okay.
I started the school resource officer program, and I was one of the first original 3 to start that program in our county. And I was assigned to Loganville Middle School and Loganville High School. At the time, they were the same campus, right behind Kroger up there on 78. Great times, great job. Met a lot of great kids and that are friends of mine now, as we're all adults.
Well, let me ask you this: when you were younger, did you envision not just, like you said, you had that epiphany for you, Judge Mike, that you at some point you knew you wanted to be in law enforcement. But when you were younger, did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that you would be on this side of the law as a judge?
Speaking for me, never.
Probably didn't know what a magistrate judge was back then.
No, I had no idea. I got to know the chief magistrate judge at the time, Dan Pierce, very well, because when I was at the City of Monroe Police Department, the last 4 or 5 years there, I was in investigations. I was a sergeant over in narcotics. And the way that worked is if you needed a search warrant, whatever time that was, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you made a phone call to his house and you woke him up. And you went to his house. I got to know his kids because 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they're wanting to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And sign a search warrant there and go out and do your thing and then, go to his office. And that's how I got to know Judge Pierce. I thought a lot of him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and Mike and I worked together pretty close at Monroe because I was a drug dog handler. And the only drug dog we had at the department at the time. And so he and I worked kind of side by side with that also.
It's interesting because, again, I always kind of relay this back to me. I didn't have anybody in my family that was either in military or law enforcement, so it wasn't something that you were aspiring to be. For you guys, did you have somebody that was pointing you in that direction? Grandpa, dad, somebody that was in that line of work?
not really. Now, my grandfather, who lived in Indiana, was the police chief and the fire chief at the same time at one particular time.
Okay.
And he actually jumped out at Normandy on D-Day. But that was back in Indiana. That's back, I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. So to answer your question, I would say no. There's nothing really that sticks out to me that says, okay, I'm going to follow in the footsteps of that individual. I didn't have that.
Yeah. So this was your path.
Yeah.
What about looking back at your education in high school? Was there somebody in there that was an influence on you, a coach, teacher, somebody that maybe modeled you in that direction?
For me, not really. I just always admired law enforcement, just from the respect, and then growing up, with my dad in the military also. But I never really dreamed about it or anything like that. It just, as I was maturing as a teenager, it just kind of looked up to him.
If you guys weren't judges today, would you still be in law enforcement, do you think?
Yes.
Probably would, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Because the last 7 years of my career, I was the chief deputy for Sheriff Chapman. And then when the probate judge, former judge, the late Greg Adams, was retiring, that's when I decided. So I basically went straight from the sheriff's office to the courthouse.
Okay, interesting, yeah. And we're going to get into that when we take this next break. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. We're visiting with Walton County Probate Judge Bruce Wright, Chief Magistrate Judge Mike Burke. Take a quick break. We'll be right back. And welcome back, Marc McMain. Now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of what it takes to become a judge in particular counties for us in Walton County. Bruce, let's start with you. What does a probate judge in your team, what do you guys do?
Well, any death that happens in our county, if they reside in our county or their domiciles in our county, the estate must go through our county. So if they have a last will and testament, you probate the will through the probate court.
Okay.
If you pass away without a last will and testament, there's another procedure called an administration. So you must file the administration or letters of administration petition to get appointed as an administrator.
Okay.
Now, we also handle other things such as adult guardianships and conservatorships. If you have an adult that maybe has dementia or Alzheimer's or born with a disease where they need help taking care of them, that must be filed in the probate court and appointed. We have to have a hearing on some of those.
And who's going to be that guardian? Who's going to take over?
Correct.
Yep.
Yes. And oftentimes it's a parent, if it's a minor, 18-year-old or above, or it could be a child, as we have to take care of our parents one day, possibly.
Yep.
We also handle minor guardianships often.
Is that in the event, like if a parent is removed or deceased?
Could be deceased, could be in jail, could be on drugs, running from the law. It could be military parents that are being shipped off for a year or two, and they want their parent or relative or someone
Leave
to
with
be
the
guardian.
grandparents, yeah.
We also issue Georgia weapons carry license, also known as your carry permit.
Speaking of which, I think mine expired the other day. Just found out. Got to come back and see you.
Yeah, we have some old records in our office. They used to call them the pistol toters. It's kind of ironic. We also issue marriage license for you don't have to be a resident of our county to do that. That's jurisdiction statewide. The weapons carry license, you must be a resident in the county
where you're applying for
where
it.
you're applying it. Yeah.
Interesting. Yep.
And also, I handle misdemeanor traffic court violations. Georgia State Patrol, Walton County Sheriff's deputies, DNR, misdemeanor DNR, hunting and fishing violations.
All
so
that
I
comes through
handle that.
probate. Okay.
All that.
Interesting.
Misdemeanors only, correct.
Misdemeanors only.
So we have that every Tuesday. So I tell friends of mine, if you ever get bored on a Tuesday morning, come on up here about 10 o'clock and
watch the
listen
show.
to some of the stories that we hear.
If you ever see my wife up there, let me know.
Okay, I will.
She's up there for speeding through town. Just give me a heads up so I know what to expect, what
Yes,
bill
sir.
I got to pay. Judge Mike, tell us what chief magistrate, what is your role and what do you guys take care of?
We handle civil and criminal. Civil is anything from statement of claims. At the moment, it's $15,000 limit, jurisdictional limit. In other words, you can sue somebody for $15,000 and you can come to magistrate. Anything above and beyond that has to go to superior.
And they're about to bump that up, I believe, to $25,000.
They have done that,
Yep.
but we got the legislature to put it off until January of 2027.
Give you some time to, yep.
It goes from $15,000 to $25,000.
Yeah, okay.
We anticipate, as magistrate judges across the state, a huge impact.
Yeah, the volume of cases now that
Yes.
you're going to have to see are going to
Yes.
almost probably double, or at least go up 50%.
Yeah, I don't think we'll really feel it and see it, show it on paper for about 8-9 months into it, but we're gonna get it. But we handle dispossessories, garnishments, writ of possessions on personal property, abandoned motor vehicles. Criminal side, we do all the criminal warrants that come through this county.
Okay.
That's every law enforcement agency that comes through this county.
How have you seen that change over the past couple decades?
I would probably say the number of cases that we have, the nature of the crimes that we're seeing, they're getting more and more somewhat serious.
Yeah.
Everything's serious, but they're more serious. We're seeing a downfall in like bad checks. We used to get bad check cases all the time. I haven't seen a bad check case in I couldn't tell you how long.
Is that because that now, I think, depending on the threshold, I think many bad checks are a felony. If it increases, it passes, I don't know if it's $500 or whatever.
There is a misdemeanor and there is a felony, but I think what you're seeing is that with bad checks, the majority of people don't take checks anymore.
Yeah,
A
that's a
lot
good
of
point.
them won't take checks. And you got credit cards, you got cash app payments like Zelle and
Yep.
things like that. So they've gotten away from the paper part of it.
That's interesting. Yeah.
We just don't see that many.
Big difference. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show, visiting with probate judge Bruce Wright, Chief Magistrate Judge Mike Burke. Bruce, I want to come back to you on something. You talked about the weapons, the concealed carry permit that you guys process. Even though now Georgia is a concealed carry state, there's still value in having a concealed carry permit. And we don't have to delineate every item, but I know there's still an advantage to having that.
Yes, a lot of people ask me that, and I always say, get your permit. Several reasons. Number one is if you want to go to a pawn shop or a gun store and buy a gun, you can walk out the door with it if you have that permit. Versus having to come back tomorrow, or we'll call you, they got to run your criminal history without that permit. So you come back tomorrow when we call you, or the next day, or whatever.
Right.
You actually walk out the door with it. And two, if you're say you're out of state, say you're in Florida and something happens and you pull a gun to defend yourself or your family, I always think that would kind of give you a little check box of, hey, I'm a Georgia carry permit holder. I just think that would be good.
I agree. Even on states that offer reciprocity, I think having that shows that you've gone through the proper steps.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
there's value in that. I know both you guys have to make decisions that profoundly affect people's lives. How do you balance compassion with applying the law? And Mike, I'll open up with you on this because obviously your judgments are going to be more severe than that's not maybe the case, but in some cases more severe. I think sometimes I would be too compassionate, Chassie. I'm a nice guy, and so I could, how do you turn on that black and white and get rid of the neutral?
Probably one of the best pieces of advice I got from was Superior Court Judge, two of them really, late Horace Johnson and John Ott. Make your decisions based on the law. You don't have to like the law, because I'm going to tell you now there's a lot of laws that I do not like.
Sure.
But you fall back on the law, and there's nothing that anybody can say. It kind of pulls at your heartstrings. That comes along like on dispossessories when I have to evict somebody. And, somebody comes to court and they have 3 kids standing there with them.
That's tough. Yeah.
And they say, okay, you got 7 days, that's what the law says, to move or vacate from the property. And they say, well, we don't have nowhere to go. And I'm like, my hands are tied on a lot of certain things because I have ethics and canons that I have to go by judicial reviews and things of that nature that I cannot step above and beyond it. So the advice that I've lived by for the last 21, 22 years as judge is go by the law, be transparent. As a judge, I'm pretty straightforward. I don't like to venture off. I like to be known as, hey, this is the way it's going to be. But I want to base my decisions on circumstances. The good thing about, I think, with us, magistrate probate, and I speak for me specifically, is that I do have some range of what I can do. And I have a lot of cases, just like Judge Wright does, but we have enough opportunity to treat those cases as individuals and not a number. So you're able to actually talk to that person. And I'm not saying Superior Court does or does not do that. I'm just saying the sheer amount of numbers will not allow for that to happen like it does in our courts, which I'm able to talk to an individual.
You've got the time where you can actually learn and get to know that person.
Yes.
And dig deeper. Judge Wright, I'll ask you this. I imagine oftentimes, especially when you're talking about probate, maybe somebody's passed away and you're dealing with real stressful situations. There's sometimes significant estates at stake, and there's people that are maybe not in the best mental condition of what they're going through. How do you deal with that? What would you like the public to understand about the judicial process as it pertains to those stressful moments?
Yeah, you can't take the human factor out of it, just like what Judge Burke said. Sometimes we have some discretion, and sometimes we don't. I always tell people, my advice is always get yourself a will, a last will and testament, because you make those decisions on what happens to your property at the time of your death.
Right.
You make those decisions, not some court, not me. And if you pass away without a last will and testament, your property is divided equally amongst your heirs. So if you've got 5 heirs, well, that's 20%. But it doesn't really specify. Well, I want all my tools to go to my son Johnny.
That's
or
right.
I want my really nice necklace to go to my daughter Chastity.
Yeah.
Or so if you have a will, you are making that decision. And if your heirs don't like it, so what? That's what their mom or dad wanted.
Yeah, and that's right. It takes that decision-making process out of the equation because, again, it's a stressful time. People's emotions are running at a fever pitch. So yeah, that's great advice. I think having a will in place, and you don't necessarily have to have a huge estate to have a will. You just got to have something, and it makes the whole process easier for the family. I'm going to ask each of you this next question here, and Judge Burke, we'll start with you. We were joking around about AI and whatnot at the beginning of the show. How has technology changed the courtroom since you've been a judge now? What did you say, since 2003?
I took the office January 1, 2005.
So you've got 21 years. How has technology changed from what you've seen?
Phone, social media. We have 2 days a month that are called pre-warrant hearings, and that's when a citizen wants to take a warrant on another citizen, and they have to apply for it.
Okay.
They have to have a hearing. I see a lot more social media. Hey, they're defaming me on Facebook. They're doing
That's
this on
interesting.
Instagram.
Yeah.
They want them to stop. Social media, we see it all the time. A lot of the cases that come before me on civil cases now, I've got evidence on my phone.
So that carries weight. So if somebody's on Facebook and they're disparaging you or saying lies or slandering you,
Video can't lie. I mean,
Yeah.
Video can be misconstrued.
Sure.
Because my thing with video is I want the whole thing from start to end. I don't want bits and pieces of it because you can manipulate that any way that you want.
Take it out
to.
of context. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
And that's why I'm not 100% great with video unless I have it all, because it's just not fair.
That makes sense.
To
Yeah.
let me make the decision based on all the evidence, not just the evidence you want me to hear. It has to be the whole part of the case.
But that should give you pause as a listener to be cautious in what you say on, again, I'm on Facebook. I don't do Instagram, Twitter, and the other stuff. But what you say, because some people, boy, they have no boundaries, Chastity. They will light you up. They'll say some disparaging things. And it's interesting what people, the freedom of speech can also get you in trouble because you also have to be accountable for your words. And that's interesting that you said that, because that's opened that whole new can of worms where people's comments are documented and they're not going anywhere. They're in cyberspace.
And I'm seeing, if you get sued by someone, I'm seeing more AI-generated answers from the defendants. You can tell it's ChatGPT or whatever they call that.
Right.
Because it's taken straight off of a computer, copied and pasted. There's my answer. It's not the old timey where they write down, I do not owe this money, I did not do this, or yes, I owe this money. It could be like 2 pages.
Very sophisticated,
very
perfectly
sophisticated.
laced out, like a grammar, went to grammar school.
And then they may sign it, and it's like there's no way that you can figure this out yourself. Sorry, but you take the answer. So
Yeah. What about you, Judge Wright? What have you seen technology change on the probate side?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's good at times and it's bad at times. But this AI, we're seeing a lot of, on civil side, we're seeing a lot of answers where someone may be served with a notice for a probate where they didn't sign, and they'll answer it through AI. And sometimes they'll cite a case law. We look up the case law, and it's totally different from what they're citing, or a statute. Totally different from what they're citing. So we're having to do a little more work to catch this. And then when that happens, we basically dismiss it because it's inappropriate.
What my concern would be on this side when you're talking about technology with whether it be the chief magistrate side with the probate side is AI using falsifying stuff, right? Creating documentation that is not legitimate, maybe creating title that's not legitimate, creating wills that didn't exist and making it look authentic. Or maybe on your side, think about the quality of fake videos. I cannot discern from my naked eye when you see some of these videos that are completely bogus, and I'm looking at these things and I'm like, how do you tell that that is not real?
Well, it's like the video and the stories, the way they put them together. It's like fake news. I mean, you get on social media and they'll say, hey, this, coming soon, this movie.
Right.
Like, man, it's going to be a great movie.
And you find out it's all garbage.
It's all AI.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it makes it perfect.
It does.
And people will generate that and bring that into court. And we have to be able to determine, hey, is this real, is this fake? And it goes back to me saying earlier that I don't like taking video from a phone because they're only going to give me what they want to.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's always that difference of opinion because somebody comes into my court, somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose on the civil side. It's just the way that it is. Criminal side, it's just you have to have the evidence. And if somebody wants to present to me that, then I want the whole entire thing. And let me differentiate. Let me determine and give the weight of the evidence that's on there that it deserves. But without seeing it, I don't assume anything because everybody knows what that means.
It's just additional burden for you guys to be able to discern and sift through all this stuff that's taking place nowadays. This is the Marc McMain Show, visiting with Chief Magistrate Judge Mike Burke, Probate Judge Bruce Wright, Walton County. One more question for you guys before we take a break, and Bruce, I'll start with you. What advice would you give to somebody, let's say maybe whether it be somebody who's in law enforcement, or maybe somebody who's in college and they're studying pre-law right now, because you said the next probate judge after you is going to have to be an attorney or have passed the bar, is that right?
That is correct.
So what advice would you give to somebody that maybe down the road, hopefully you're not retiring anytime soon, but down the road wants to do this or in a different county?
I would suggest they get their education and follow their heart. Go where they feel that they should be going. I've talked to lawyers in the past that practiced law for 2 or 3 years, hated it, and started doing something else totally different.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I would just follow your heart. Do what makes you happy.
Because going down the path of law is a big commitment. You get your 4-year degree, you got your law school, you got to pass the bar. So it's minimum 7 years of your life that you've committed to that path. So you better be sure. Maybe go sit in and watch some of the cases unfold in the magistrate's courtroom or in the probate courtroom and see what's taking place and see if that's a path you want to. And it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be a judge. You could. There's many roles that they have that I'm sure you guys have in your office that you're filling all the time.
There are. There's there's different aspects of what kind of incorporates everything that we do, whether it's probate, juvenile, municipal, anything judge related. Go see it. Go check it out. One thing I tell people about magistrates is we're 24/7, 365 days a year. We don't miss a beat. So somebody's on call, a judge is on call every minute of every day.
Yeah. When
COVID hit, didn't affect us.
Just made me think of something. When you said 24/7, y'all don't do night court, do you?
No, I will not do that.
You remember that series, Night Court?
Yes, I do.
I told Judge Burke that Sheriff Brooks was going to put him a bed down there in the jail where he could just hang out down there when those warrants come in at night.
I told Sheriff Brooks that he does that, he's going to sleep right next to me. So
it makes for a long day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. We're going to take one final break. When we come back, I've asked the judges to conjure up a couple stories of what's happened in the courtroom that they can share with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Marc McMain visiting with Chief Magistrate Judge of Walton County, Mike Burke. Probate Judge Bruce Wright. Guys, I appreciate you taking the time to come visit with us today. I hope that the wheels aren't coming off our judicial system while you guys are vacating to come visit with us.
No, we've both got great folks in our office that take care of everything.
You guys got a good team.
We got a great team.
Yeah.
Well, I think we put ours up against anybody's.
Well, and I've said it a million times that when you span this region of our state, which this station covers Walton, Oconee, Barrow, Morgan, Clark, Greene counties, you look at the leadership, you look at the infrastructure that we have and the law enforcement, and that obviously covers you guys. It is fantastic, the processes that we have in place.
It is, and Walton County, look, we're biased to Walton County. That's why we're
Sure.
here.
Yep.
Grew up here, policed here. We went to school here. As far as my office, my staff is why I'm in there since 2005.
Yeah, think of that. No, that's a big deal for both you guys because you guys have spent the majority or most of your life here in Walton County, and now you're part of the judicial process. When you watch television shows, they portray these larger-than-life personalities like Judge Judy that we see, and I guess she would be handling more of probate-type stuff, right? Or what would she be considered? Is she a magistrate?
She's considered something, but it's not. I'll put it this way: the Judge Judys, the Judge Joe Browns, the TV judges.
Yeah.
They are what I do every other Tuesday during pre-warrant hearings.
So
that
how
can turn into
similar?
Jerry Springer Day.
So that's what I was going to ask you: is how similar when we see some of the chaotic
Nothing,
antics?
because that doesn't. You cannot let that happen.
So
And
you don't tolerate it.
I have had to tell people this is not Judge Judy. This is not Jerry Springer show. This is not Judge Joe Brown. We're going to run this very professionally. And for the most part, you do get some things that come out of hand because, people are very emotional. People are very at the wet's end, and we don't know what else to do. And they've come in and told me that. Said, Judge, we didn't know what else to do. Solve our problem. I said, if I could solve your problem, I would not be sitting here on the bench as a judge. I'd be selling it, and I'd be a multi-millionaire.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I don't have a wand that can fix you. You are the only two that can fix this.
Well, and I would imagine that's an issue, too, where you've had people who've only watched these courtroom drama shows, and then they come in and they think, hey, this is going to be, the Wild West.
They try that a lot, especially those two. Yeah, if you, like Judge Wright said, come down and watch court. Come down and watch my court on every other Tuesday, and you'll see that there's things that you only thought could happen that really happen. Put it that way. It's very interesting.
Judge Wright, let me ask you, without naming names or revealing confidential details, what's one of the? Do you have any courtroom moments that were just something you never forget? Some bizarre things that have taken place.
Traffic court is interesting, and we're human. Some things are funny, things are sad. We cry, we laugh. One thing comes to mind several years ago, probably my first year. Had a lady had a ticket for she just run off the road for no reason, and the deputy sheriff wrote her a ticket. It was an accident, and the solicitor said called a case, and the solicitor said, Judge Wright, she's wanting to plead guilty, but she's wanting to talk to you for a minute. In which that happens quite a bit. People want their day in court.
Okay.
I said, yes, ma'am. Come on up. Little short lady. And I asked her, I said, ma'am, you were charged with running off the road. Can you tell me what happened? And she said, yes, Your Honor. She said, I'm riding down the road, and it was hot weather, and she had her window down, and a wasp got in her car. And the wasp got up her shirt and stung her 4 or 5 times. So she told me that. And she said, Judge, I just run off the road. It hurt me so bad, da. And I said, so it stung you? She said, yes, sir, 4 or 5 times. And she asked me, she said, you want to see? She started to pull her shirt up. And I said, no, ma'am, stop. I said, case dismissed.
I believe
no charges.
You were about to get flashed.
Yes, we didn't want that.
Oh,
So,
that is too good.
Case dismissed. She had enough problems.
Hey, yeah, I think I'd be running off the road if I was getting stung a few times. Judge Burke, let me ask you, have you ever found yourself where you're having to suppress a laugh or you just can't believe what's being said in front of you?
Yes. I got patience, like Job, to a certain point.
Yeah.
And I've got a sense of humor, too. You know, like Judge Wright said, we're human beings, and, so, you know, things are funny.
Yeah.
But we got to be careful as judges because what we may think is funny to us may not be funny to somebody else. So we got to be real careful of what we laugh at and what we don't laugh at. You got to kind of feel the room and be able to figure out, hey, this is appropriate, because you still have to stay appropriate. And as a judge, you have to stay in control.
Yeah.
You don't, you know. I teach other judges throughout the state, and I tell new ones that come in, I said, don't ever put yourself so above the people that are in front of you simply because you're a judge. Make sure that you do stay in control, and you're always one small level above them for control purposes only, because that's your courtroom. And if you lose control, then the inmates are running the prison.
That's right.
And you can't have that. You've got to have, and you know, your control starts when you walk into the courtroom. It's not when you open your mouth. It's how you present yourself. Because if you meet somebody for the very first time, you're going to assess that individual by looking at them. It's human nature.
That's right.
And then you determine after they start talking what you do. But the first assessment, the first thing that you see is that person and how do they approach what they're doing. And to me, that's very, very important as being a judge.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show, visiting with Judge Burke, Judge Wright here in Walton County. It's funny you say that, Judge, because I think, and again, I can only see what I see on television, and I've seen highlights of different things that have taken place, actual courtroom events. Appearance matters. I mean, your first impression of somebody who's coming, and let's say maybe they're convicted of somebody, of something that they've done, your first impression for that judge is going to make a big difference. And appearance matters. I would imagine there's times that you wanted to slap somebody and say, I can't believe you came in here dressed this way.
He'll tell, he's probably going to, Judge Wright, tell you the same thing. If somebody does come in appropriately, I handle it very discreetly, but at the same time, I'll say, you know, you need to leave the courtroom, get appropriate clothes, and come back in. I don't call them out in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to do that to anybody.
Good for you, yeah. But you take them aside and you say, hey, look, you're not.
Or bring them up to the bench or let the bailiff know.
Yeah.
And then the bailiff does take care of that. But the bailiffs are great in our courtrooms because most of the time they know what is appropriate and what's not, and they'll take care of that. Even
so they'll stop them before it even gets to you.
They'll let me know. They'll come in and say, Judge, we got one we had to send out. Or they got shorts on, or they got this. What do you want me to do? I said, you go tell them to change to come back. I'll wait. Because you can't tolerate that. Because if you give somebody an inch, they're going to take a mile. And then, you know, that has to be controlled.
What about your side, Judge Wright? Do you face stuff like that as well?
Yeah, the deputies, our deputy sheriffs do a great job, and they normally stop them before they come in the courtroom. And we have signs, you know, all over the place. People don't read them, but so they'll tell them, you know, go get something that's appropriate, and we'll see you back in 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that, because generally court's going to be 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. There's time to get him back in on the docket.
Yeah, exactly. And but generally the deputies take care of that for us.
All right, let me ask y'all a couple personal questions here. Your favorite legal movie of all time, and mine is My Cousin Vinny. That's, and I've heard that actually kind of follows a pretty accurate portrayal of what takes place in a courtroom. Of course, that was a murder case. Maybe, but what do you guys? What's your favorite?
It would be My Cousin Vinny. I love To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay. What about you, Judge Wright?
I love My Cousin Vinny also, but I also like Andy Griffith.
Oh yeah.
Because you know he's the sheriff, and then he'll take his hat off and he'll replace his name tag, and he's the justice of the peace. You know, just a sign of the times.
I was watching Andy Griffith last night.
I watch him just about every night.
That's my decompression mode. If you just want to just relax, you just watch Andy Griffith.
Absolutely.
And it takes the stress. It melts right off your back.
It does.
It's funny how, you know, we say what kind of law movie. All of us basically said something comedic.
Yeah.
You got to keep comedy and laugh in it. Because if you can't be serious all the time, there's a time to be serious, but then You got to just step back and say, wow, this is really funny inside, but it's okay. Because a lot of this real life, like Judge Wright said earlier, it's tears, it's happy.
That's right.
It's every aspect of life, we see it. We see people at their worst.
That's right. Yeah.
And you can't, listen, bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. But you can't treat each individual as just because they're in front of you for whatever that is. I mean they're a bad person. Circumstances dictate some people that come in front of you. That's one of the, for me personally, that's the one thing that I do not like about my job is I can't help as many people as I want to because we don't have the resources. Not just Walton County, the entire world. We, if you want to break it down and get it back to us, no, we don't have the ability to help people with mental health problems. We just don't. And I know there's people that come in front of me who are struggling with that. And I have to do as much as I can within the law to be able to help that person. But I wish there was more. But at this point, there's not.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I can't tell you how many times we've had conversations with different people just right here in this studio over a myriad of different topics, whether it be education, law enforcement, or beyond. And quite often the conversation does come back to mental health. And so I didn't even touch on that, didn't have it queued up, but I'm glad you brought that up because, my concern is for our country, not just Georgia, not just our community of Walton County, but for our country. We've got this crisis that's manifesting, and it's creating problems at a pace that we can't keep up with.
Yeah, I agree too. The drug problem is so bad when they're making pills at home and cooking stuff on their stove. All this stuff that people are putting in their bodies, it's burning their brains.
Yeah.
Which is, and mental illness and drug abuse, it runs together a lot of times, but it's long-term effects on people. It burns their brains, and it's sad. It really is.
It's heartbreaking, and the two go hand in hand, and then that manifests into a homeless population that we're seeing. You go over to Athens, you can see it taking place there. And I'm of the school of thought that it has to be hit head on. We can't just sit there and continue to say, oh, well, hey, this is how society's going. If we continue that path, society will be gone.
It does, and we got some things that we can utilize, our probation services that we do, and programs that we could put people in. Chip Morris has a company that does a great job.
We've had him on the show.
That we both use.
Yep.
And we were basically the guinea pigs for him.
It used to be called Civics Academy.
Academy, and I can't Pro Civic or Civic Pro or something.
Mm-hmm. Has that been effective?
So Chip, forgive me. Oh, very.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
How forward thinking was that he developed that and because again
actually got it done.
Yeah.
And is actually, listen, when he first started, he had 3 or 4 programs. He didn't stop there, and he's not stopping now. Every year he'll come out with something different, and he and his son both are phenomenal. And any ideas that we have, he tries to implement them. And that's the great part about it.
Yeah, and for our listeners that didn't hear that show, what they do is if you have somebody who has gotten themselves into trouble, they have a program that is, and you guys can jump in, I don't want to butcher this, but from what I understand, it's a program designed to kind of, hey, this is why our community operates and functions correctly, and here's how you got to make, there's a corrections that you need to make in your life.
It is, and it's very specific. Like there's a DAP class, Drug Awareness Program class. There's a RAP class, that's a Responsibility Awareness Program class. There's a Life Skills class. There's an Animal Awareness class that I do, animal control. Sometimes if it's somebody that I feel that this class would help, then I put them in that. And now what I will do, I'll offset a fine. I'll bring the fine down because that does cost, but the cost is minimal for what you get out of it. So I will offset my fine or kind of change it in order for them to take that
So
class.
you take this course, we're going to reduce your fine by X, but
Right.
you have to complete this course.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's part of it.
Yeah.
And because it's more long term. I'm not worried about the short term. Like, here's your fine, go on.
Right.
I just don't do that.
Yeah, because the idea is to keep them from coming back in front of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Keep them out of the courtroom. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And kudos to Chip and Caleb because they're it's.
So I graduated with Chip. So
Okay.
It all goes around and comes around.
Full circle, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. We've had him on the show. Probably need to have him on again. Guys, I'm gonna. We got a few minutes left. Let's kind of lighten it up a little bit. What do you do in your spare time? So when you're not stressing out, you're not handling the courtroom, you're not managing your staff and dealing with keeping Walton County between the lines. What do you guys like to do in your downtime? Judge Wright, we'll start with you.
I've got a wonderful family. We've got 3 grandchildren that we love dearly.
My goodness.
2 of our kids here live locally. 1 lives out of state. I like to hunt. I like to fish. I love fooling around with old cars and just cherish family. We're not promised tomorrow, and so we try to live every day as we can.
Where's your favorite fishing hole? Where you go? You like fishing lakes? You go down to the coast, or where?
I kind of like to go down to the river, Oconee.
Okay, yeah.
Dyer's patch down there. So
That's good fishing. What about
Yeah.
you, Judge Burt?
Just family. I do a lot of traveling. Everybody knows that. I love to travel as much as I can. My wife and I, when we got married, I never had a passport. I've never been out of the country.
Yeah.
That's changed a lot.
Where have you gone recently? Any good
I
places?
just got back from Isla Mujeres, Mexico, last Friday.
Isla Mujeres, yeah. So that's right off the coast of Cancun.
Cancun,
Yeah.
flying to Cancun.
I met
get
my
ferry.
wife on the beach of Cancun.
There you go.
Yeah.
wow.
So we like to travel, play golf when we can, because we play golf sometimes together.
Who's got the better game?
We're probably even.
I figured it'd be a little trash talking in that right there.
Yeah,
We don't play enough to trash talk it too much.
he don't play too much. He tore his ACL in the ocean. Now, how many people does that?
Yeah.
At the
So
Isla
he-
Mujeres?
he's, oh,
No,
I'm-
this was
my
about
knees hurt and I can't play golf
7 years
today.
ago. We were at Cabo, and I wasn't standing in the water. I was standing on the edge of the water, and the waves were so big. So I had my back to the waves, and I had my arms up. My wife took a picture, and about that time, I got a picture of it. The
It knocked
wave
you
hit
down.
my knee and blew my ACL out.
You're kidding me. He ain't got it fixed?
I've had 4 surgeries on
Oh, my goodness. All right.
Just
That will
still-
mess up your golf game.
it. It did.
Last 2 times I've invited him to play, he's backed out on me. So I think he's just, I don't know, embarrassed or something. I don't know. I'm taking his money.
A little bit of both.
Well, hey, golf is a contact sport. So,
Correct.
guys, again, I can't emphasize enough how much I appreciate y'all taking time from your busy schedule to come and visit with us. This was very enlightening, insightful, and I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us
Thank you.
for an hour.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much. You and
Absolutely.
Chastity are wonderful.
Well, this is great. It's a lot of fun. It's
Thank you.
Chief Magistrate Judge Mike Burke, Probate Judge Bruce Wright. Walton County is blessed for many reasons, and these 2 gentlemen are part of that. So,
Yes.
again, thank you guys. Thank you, our listeners. We'll be back on tomorrow. What do we got tomorrow, Chastity?
So tomorrow we're going to have Miranda from the Humane Society.
Yep.
And then also your friend Zach Haynes.
The musician, Zach Haynes,
so
bringing
he's
it.
coming in with his song, so we're excited about
That's
that.
going to be a lot of fun, folks. Join us tomorrow at noon. Until then, stay safe.